Let's get started with our first news. Jon Jones responded to Daniel Cormier this morning after DC shared some comments on Instagram. Jon took a moment to address the fans directly, and his message was heartfelt and meaningful. He started off by wishing everyone a happy Thanksgiving, especially for those who aren't spending the day with their friends and family. He acknowledged that for some people, today might be lonely or difficult, and he wanted to make sure that everyone knew they were not forgotten. Jon's tone was warm and genuine as he expressed his gratitude and care for the fans who might be feeling isolated on this holiday. He emphasized the importance of love and connection, even if it's just through a simple message. Jon said, "If no one tells you that they love you today, I love you." His sincerity really came through, and it was clear that he wanted to uplift everyone watching. Jon even brought his dog Dutch into the message, sharing a light-hearted moment with the fans. "And Dutch loves you," he said, letting the small personal detail add warmth and relatability to his message. Dutch's response, an enthusiastic, that's right, brought a smile to the audience and made the message feel even more genuine and down to earth. Jon wrapped up by encouraging everyone to have a blessed day. His closing words were simple but powerful. "We love you. Happy Thanksgiving." It was a rare glimpse at Jon's softer side, a side that fans don't always get to see in the heat of fight promotions and media appearances. The message resonated because it wasn't about fighting, rankings, or controversy. It was purely about connection, care, and appreciation. Jon Jones' response to Daniel Cormier this morning was more than just a reply on social media. It was a reminder to everyone that love and support exist, even on days that might feel tough. His heartfelt words, combined with a touch of humor and warmth with Dutch, created a message that was uplifting, memorable, and genuinely inspiring. Fans left the video feeling acknowledged, appreciated, and reminded that even small gestures of love can make a big difference in someone's day. It was a moment of humanity and gratitude that transcended the usual fight news, showing the world a side of Jon Jones that is kind, thoughtful, and genuinely caring. Move on to another news. Dana White has released a fighter from the UFC roster following UFC Qatar. With UFC 323 coming up next weekend, the promotion is making some significant roster updates, and this news caught the attention of fans and fighters alike. The UFC officially announced that Marak Billow has been released after some events he shared on social media sparked discussions among the MMA community. According to his manager, Bartosz Bartyak, the reason for Billow's release is linked to a fight he declined. Billow reportedly turned down a quick turnaround fight for UFC 324. For context, Billow suffered a loss to Denzel Freeman this past weekend in Qatar, and the UFC was eager to have him back in action as soon as possible. However, due to an injury sustained during his fight, he decided not to accept a bout on just 2 weeks' notice. Bartosz Bartyak explained that the UFC really wanted Billow to fight again, but because he declined, the promotion opted to remove him from the roster. The manager emphasized that this decision came from the fighter's side, pointing out that there could potentially be other reasons behind the scenes that the UFC hasn't publicly shared. Nonetheless, from the information provided, the immediate cause seems to be his refusal to take a fight while recovering from injury. The release highlights the harsh realities of the UFC business, where fighters are expected to stay ready and accept fights on short notice, even after tough losses or injuries. It also underlines the importance of timing and opportunity in MMA. A fighter turning down a bout, regardless of injury or circumstance, can lead to immediate consequences like roster removal. Billow's situation is a reminder of the physical and mental demands that fighters face at the highest level. Recovering from a fight while navigating career expectations is never easy, and UFC decisions often balance the needs of the promotion with the health and availability of the fighters. This release could have a ripple effect, influencing how fighters approach quick turnaround fights in the future, knowing the potential risks of declining bouts. While Billow's story is significant, the UFC continues to move forward with upcoming events and roster updates, keeping the focus on the next wave of fights and athletes making their mark. The organization is always evolving, and the release of a fighter, especially after a short turnaround opportunity, serves as a stark example of how competitive and unforgiving the sport can be. Fans will be watching closely to see what Willow does next and how the UFC continues to adjust its roster for future events. Move on to another news. Ilia Topuria reveals some sad news regarding his fighting schedule and personal life. As Dana White mentioned recently, Ilia is currently dealing with personal matters that require his full attention. This announcement came directly from Topuria himself through a heartfelt message on social media. In his post, he made it clear that he will not be competing in the first quarter of next year, explaining that he is going through a difficult period in his personal life. Topuria emphasized the importance of focusing on his children and resolving the situation as quickly as possible. He expressed that family comes first, and he wants to ensure he can give his full attention to the matters at hand before returning to the octagon. Despite the challenges he is facing, Ilia was careful to highlight that he does not want to hold up the division or cause any disruptions for the UFC. He acknowledged that the promotion will continue making matchups and progressing the division, and he intends to inform them as soon as he is ready to resume his fighting career. His message was personal, sincere, and respectful, showing a side of a fighter that fans don't always see, the human side, beyond the lights, the fights, and the spotlight. By openly sharing his struggles, Ilia reminded everyone that fighters are not just athletes, but also parents, family members, and individuals with real-life challenges that demand attention and care. This announcement has significant implications for the featherweight division, as Ilia Topuria is one of the rising stars and most skilled fighters in the UFC. His absence for the first quarter of next year means the UFC will have to adjust matchups, not keeping the division moving, while also respecting his need for time off. The news is a reminder of the delicate balance between personal life and professional commitments in the high-pressure world of mixed martial arts. Fans have responded with overwhelming support for Ilia, understanding the need to prioritize family during tough times. His transparency and honesty resonate deeply, making this a moment that goes beyond typical fight news. It's a story about responsibility, care, and the realities of life outside the octagon. While the division will continue without him for a few months, everyone knows that once Ilia resolves his personal matters, he will return with the same intensity, skill, and determination that have made him a standout fighter in the UFC. Until then, the focus remains on his family and well-being, and the MMA community is fully behind him, offering support, understanding, and patience as he navigates this challenging chapter. Move on to another news. Max Holloway reacts to Ilia Topuria's recent comments, showing support and understanding for the personal challenges Topuria is facing. After Ilia announced that he would not be competing in the first quarter of next year due to family matters, Max took the time to respond directly to his message. Holloway's response was sincere and empathetic, reflecting the shared experiences of fighters who balance the demands of their careers with the responsibilities of parenthood. Max wrote, "Sorry to hear, champ. If it's what I'm hearing it is, I know the struggle firsthand trying to fight while protecting your kids. Hope all goes well." His words carried the weight of experience, acknowledging the difficulties of managing professional ambitions while prioritizing family obligations. Holloway's recognition of the challenge showed not only his respect for Topuria's situation, but also a broader understanding of the human side of MMA that fans don't always see. The pressures of fighting at the highest level can be intense, but adding the responsibility of being a parent makes the journey even more complex. Ilia Topuria responded warmly to Max's message, expressing gratitude for the support. He wrote, "Thanks for the support, brother. All the best for you and your family." This exchange highlighted the camaraderie and mutual respect among fighters, showing that beyond competition, there is a strong network of empathy and encouragement within the UFC community. Topuria's response also reflected his appreciation for the understanding shared by someone who has walked a similar path, balancing career and family life. The interaction between Holloway and Topuria is significant because it goes beyond fight news. It demonstrates the importance of support and solidarity among fighters. especially when personal life challenges intersect with professional responsibilities. Fans witnessing this exchange get a rare glimpse of the personalities behind the fighters. People who care about family, understand the struggles, and lift each other up even outside the octagon. This moment also emphasizes the human element in MMA, reminding everyone that fighters are more than their records and performances. They face real-life situations, make difficult decisions, and rely on their peers for guidance and reassurance. Max Holloway's reaction to Ilia Topuria's comments reinforces the value of empathy and support, making this a memorable exchange. It highlights how respect, understanding, and genuine concern for one another's well-being remain central to the fighter community, creating a sense of unity and mutual encouragement that extends far beyond the sport itself. Move on to another news. Daniel Cormier reveals some major updates regarding the UFC lightweight division, and fans are buzzing with speculation. First, Cormier confirmed that the UFC actually wanted to book Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, a matchup that has generated significant interest given both fighters' styles and fan followings. Second, he emphasized that the fight that absolutely needs to happen is Ilia Topuria versus Arman. This aligns with reports coming from Spanish media, confirming that Ilia is officially out of the running for the UFC's big Paramount debut, creating a shift in plans for the division. Spanish journalist Alvaro Colmano, who has consistently reported accurate news on Ilia Topuria over the years, revealed that the roadmap for El Matador has changed significantly due to private matters behind the scenes. According to Colmano, whatever is about to unfold in the lightweight division will surprise fans and shake up expectations. He clarified that Ilia will not fight in January, and February also seems unlikely, pointing toward a probable spring return. With this timeline, the matchup that actually fits and makes sense is Arman, which multiple sources had already hinted at days ago. The UFC still wants the fight to happen, but it will not take place at the start of the year. Rumors have circulated that Ilia might vacate the lightweight belt, but as of now, nothing concrete supports that claim. Everything currently points toward Ilia versus Arman still happening, just later than fans initially expected. The lightweight title picture has been analyzed extensively by Michael Bisping and Paul Felder in their recent episode, breaking down the possibilities and the fighter matchups. Bisping noted that Paddy wants a shot, Justin wants a shot, and Arman wants a shot. The key question revolves around Ilia and what he intends to do. Bisping highlighted the importance of defending the belt against the best available challengers, referencing that Ilia may have previously considered vacating rather than facing Arman. He compared the situation to other champions, emphasizing that with a title comes the obligation to fight the top contenders. Bisping acknowledged that Ilia might want to fight Paddy, which is a matchup fans would enjoy and still watch eagerly, but stressed that merit and rankings indicate that Arman is the fight that should happen next. He concluded by noting that even if Ilia beats Paddy, he will still need to face Arman to solidify his position and fulfill his responsibilities as champion. The lightweight division remains dynamic, with fans closely watching how Ilia Topuria navigates his path and the matchups that will define the coming months. Move on to another news. Renato Moicano responds to Dan Hooker's recent call-out, bringing his own perspective and humor to the situation. For those who missed it, Hooker suggested that both he and Moicano suck, so they might as well fight each other next. Moicano agreed with the sentiment, adding that while he thinks he sucks, he definitely thinks Hooker sucks more. However, he made it clear that he doesn't believe the UFC will actually book the fight anytime soon. Moicano laughed off the call-out, describing it as funny and entertaining. He explained that the humor was heightened by the way Hooker delivered it, mentioning that at one point, Hooker answered a call and said, "Mo sucks." Moicano admitted that he would have done the same in Hooker's position, and he even pointed out that Hooker wasn't entirely wrong. While Moicano recognized his own shortcomings and those of Hooker, he emphasized that the New Zealander is missing critical elements in his game. No solid ground game, lack of knockout power, and minimal wrestling skills. Despite the humor and the apparent mutual agreement, Moicano explained that UFC is unlikely to make the fight happen. He noted that while fans would probably love to see him face Hooker, the promotion has other priorities, particularly when it comes to ranking fighters and building prospects. Both fighters are experienced, and the UFC tends to focus on giving opportunities to younger contenders who can climb the rankings faster. Moicano is currently ranked number 10, and he believes the UFC would rather use a fight with Hooker to elevate another fighter instead. He also mentioned that the fight would be entertaining, but the business side of the sport makes it impractical at this time. Instead, he predicts that the UFC will look for a matchup that strategically benefits the organization and the rankings, rather than just delivering an entertaining clash between Moicano and Hooker. Renato's response highlights both the competitive nature of fighters and the humor they can bring to media interactions. He acknowledged the call-out with respect and a smile, showing fans that even when fighters exchange playful insults, there's an understanding of the larger dynamics at play. The exchange reminds everyone that while rankings and matchmaking are serious business in the UFC, fighters themselves can still engage with humor and honesty. Fans are left intrigued by the potential, but they also understand that UFC matchmaking is more than just a reflection of who wants to fight whom. Moicano's perspective makes it clear that while a fight with Dan Hooker would be entertaining, it is unlikely to happen, and the promotion will continue to prioritize strategic matchups to advance contenders in the lightweight division. Move on to another news. Arman gets into an altercation with Paddy Pimblett in Qatar, and the story has just dropped from Russian media. Ozanbek Bate released a teaser from his new interview with Arman, where he confirmed the heated encounter with Paddy just a few hours after UFC Qatar. This all happened during the post-event window, when fighters and big names were moving around the same building, likely the Fighter Hotel. Reports indicate that a couple of other altercations happened that night as well, adding to the tense atmosphere. Arman was upfront about the situation. He clarified that the encounter never escalated into a physical fight, but it did turn into a heated back and forth between him and Paddy. The timing made it even more intense, as this took place just hours after Arman had secured a significant win by submitting Dan Hooker, a victory that will have major implications for the lightweight title picture. On the other hand, Paddy seems focused on a matchup with Justin Gaethje, especially with multiple sources confirming that the UFC is planning to book Arman against Ilia Topuria next. Arman himself revealed that the UFC's plan is to line him up with Ilia, noting that the promotion does not favor Justin Gaethje's demands for a title shot, nor his threats of retirement if he doesn't get his way. The lightweight division has been stagnant for months, with limited movement at the top, but these upcoming matchups could finally shake things up. If Arman versus Ilia gets booked and Paddy versus Justin comes together, the top 5 in the division will reopen, creating fresh opportunities and reshaping the rankings. The encounter with Paddy highlights the competitive tension and personalities in the division, showing that emotions run high even outside the octagon. Arman's composure and willingness to address the situation openly contrast with the volatile nature of these high-profile fighters. It also underscores how closely fighters' careers and egos intersect, especially after major wins or setbacks. Arman's interview sheds light on the behind-the-scenes dynamics of UFC events, where rivalries, heated exchanges, and strategic matchups often define the narrative beyond the fights themselves. Fans now have insight into not just the physical battles in the cage, but also the intense interactions and stakes that happen in hallways and hotels, shaping future bouts and the direction of the lightweight division. These developments set the stage for some of the most anticipated fights and storylines in months, signaling that the division is ready for significant movement and new challenges.